Many of those sanctions will go into effect tonight at midnight, those being the financial sanctions that the U.S. government is reimposing on Iran. Senior administration officials told reporters today that this is part of the maximum pressure campaign that is resuming against Iran. And in 90 days, there will be more snapback sanctions that go into effect against Iran's energy, shipping, and other sectors. They said that the U.S. is evaluating exemption requests on a case-by-case basis, but that they are not granting broad-based waivers for any companies or countries. They would not discuss those deliberations in detail. They said the goal of this campaign and the backtracking on the JCPOA is to get the Iranian regime to change its behavior, but that their end goal is not regime change. That is an important distinction as we see these sanctions go back into effect. They reiterated the president's desire to meet with the Iranian government at any time with no preconditions, and they said the Iranian people want to see what the U.S. has to offer. They said they're working on a global coalition with the U.S. to ramp up this pressure on Iran. But of course, the first step coming from the U.S. tonight at midnight when those financial sanctions against Iran's government go back into place. Michelle?
Thanks very much. Now, what's crucial about the ones that come up in November, Kayla?
Well, they didn't give much detail, but just pointed to the idea that you could see new sanctions on oil trading coming out of Iran or on shipping activity at many ports. So that is something that I know investors, especially in the commodity complex, are going to be wanting to look for as we see some of those details come together. And I know that with these sanctions that we saw put into place today, the Treasury Department put out some guidance several months ago, sort of delineating exactly what would happen today. You would have to expect that something similar would happen with regard to those sanctions that will be coming back on in November, too.
Thanks,
also,
Kayla.
Raises the question, too, Kayla, how this affects other countries' relationships with Iran, namely the Russians and the Chinese, and the degree to which they might make up for some lost supply.
Well, the senior administration officials were asked specifically about the relationship with China, and they said that if China were going to essentially bail out Iran, that would have already happened, and that it hasn't, and that the impact on Iran's economy in the last 90 days is proof positive that those nations are not going to step in and help them out. We'll see what happens going from here.